Hi friends, hope the winters are treating you awesomely and you all are doing great. Today the thing that we are going to discuss, it's there behind me, you can see the topic that we are going to discuss, types of companies. I know what is the different types of companies, I know what is private, I know what is public, I know what is OPC. I know holding subsidiary government, I've heard about them. Yes, I know because I've heard about them, but do I really know about it? No. In this discussion, we are going to have a very clear, basic understanding about the different types of companies as defined and explained under the Companies Act. So, our today's class is basically about the different types of companies that are there under the Companies Act. And as you can see, I have given the heading to the topic. It's very much visible there to you all. So, this is our part of discussion. Now, yes, when I tell private company, you know what is private company, but you really do not know. So, listen to this lecture very carefully, and it's applicable for both CA Inter as well as CA Foundation, not just not just CA, for every Inter and Foundation student. And in fact, anyone who wants to know about companies is obviously it would help every such person. Now, you can see under the Companies Act, we have different, terms used for different types of companies, and it can be classified accordingly under 5 different heads where I have classified them on the basis of liability, on the basis of number of members, on the basis of control, ownership, and finally on the basis of profits. However, one such classification is not given here, which would be on the basis of size. So, today's discussion is going to be around all of these types of companies. So, first let us start with on the basis of liability. Next to each of the company type, you will find I've written a section, and it's section 2, almost section 2, and there's a bracket. See, almost every definition of every type of company is given under the definitional section, which is section 2. So you will find कि हर definition के आगे मैंने हर type of company के आगे मैंने section 2 दिया है and bracket में लिखा है. वो जो bracket में है वो clause है, वो subsection नहीं है. आपको शायद पता होगा subsection और clause में difference क्या होता है. अगर एक section directly number से start होता है, जैसे section 2 है फिर 1 2 3 4 दे दिया, तो वो क्या हो जाता है subsection. But यहाँ पे कैसे दिया हुआ है, the Companies Act defines the following terms in the following manner. तो उसके बाद में 1 2 3 4 दिया हुआ है, तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन ये सबसेक्शन नहीं है बट ये क्लॉज हो गया है. तो हम जब भी बोलेंगे सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 22 नहीं बोलेंगे, हम बोलेंगे उसको क्लॉज 22. तो ये जो हमारा सेक्शन 2 है वो ऑलमोस्ट सारे डेफिनेशंस को डिफाइन करता है, तो इसलिए आप यहाँ पे देखोगे मैंने सारे के सारे सेक्शंस भी दिए. हाउएवर, if you come to the last one, it is section 8. It is not given under section 2 definition section, but ये एक separate section है, section 8. And in fact, इसको बहुत commonly हम section 8 company भी बोलते हैं. So मैं जब उसके पास आऊंगी तो मैं उसके बारे में आपको बताऊंगी. पहले हम यहाँ पे देखते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ लायबिलिटी हम कंपनी को क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं लिमिटेड एंड अनलिमिटेड. क्या होता है लिमिटेड, क्या होता है अनलिमिटेड? लिमिटेड, वी नो दिस इज द मोस्ट कॉमन फीचर ऑफ अ कंपनी. एक कंपनी का सबसे कॉमन फीचर जो है वो है लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी. इनफैक्ट अगर आपने पार्टनरशिप पढ़ा हुआ है तो आप देखोगे वहां पे क्या होता है, अनलिमिटेड लायबिलिटी. देयर द लायबिलिटी इज अनलिमिटेड, बट हियर द लायबिलिटी इज व्हाट, इट इज लिमिटेड. सो व्हेन वी से लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी, इसका मतलब क्या होता है, व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय दिस? नाउ लायबिलिटी इज लिमिटेड, व्हाट डू वी मीन बाय दिस इज दैट इफ यू सी द डेफिनेशन ऑफ liability, limited liability, then it's classified as we have given, limited by shares and limited by guarantee. So let me first start with limited by shares. What do we mean by limited by shares? Tomorrow if you come and ask something from me as a member, I am liable to contribute only the value of my shares which I have not paid. Tomorrow, if the company asks me to contribute anything, कल कंपनी मुझसे कुछ भी पूछती है कि तुम कंट्रीब्यूट करो क्योंकि तुम मेंबर हो, तो मुझे कितना कंट्रीब्यूट करना है, सिर्फ वो वैल्यू अपने शेयर्स का कंट्रीब्यूट करना है जो मैंने अभी तक पे नहीं किया है. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, अगर आप डेफिनेशन देखोगे, इट सेज द मेंबर्स आर लायबल टू पे द अनपेड वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर्स हेल्ड बाय देम. ऑब्वियसली आपको पता ही है कंपनी शेयर्स अलॉट करती है एंड उससे मेरा नाम आता है रजिस्टर ऑफ मेंबर्स एंड दैट इज हाउ आई बिकम अ मेंबर. तो आई हैव टेकन अप शेयर्स ऑफ द कंपनी, तो आई एम लायबल टू पे द वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर्स, मुझे शेयर्स के वैल्यू को तो पे करना पड़ेगा। अब देखो मेरा शेयर्स का वैल्यू क्या है, ₹10 है, मेरे शेयर्स का वैल्यू क्या है, माई वैल्यू ऑफ माई शेयर्स इज ₹10 एंड मैंने क्या किया है, मैंने ₹6 ऑलरेडी पे कर दिया क्योंकि कंपनी ने उसका कॉल कर लिया था। तो हाउ मच इज अनपेड, ₹4 इज अनपेड। नाउ इफ टुमारो कंपनी आस्क्स मी टू पे, my maximum liability to pay is this ₹4 into the number of shares I hold. So the members are liable to pay the unpaid value of the shares held by them. Members की liability क्या है, उनको उतना ही पे करना है जितना कि उनका unpaid value है। तो अगर let us say 10 रुपीज के शेयर है, 6 रुपीज ऑलरेडी मेंबर ने पे कर दिया, तो उसकी liability सिर्फ 4 रुपीज पे करना है। जब भी कंपनी कॉल करे उसको हर शेयर पे 4 रुपीज पे करना है। तो लेट अस से अगर उसने 100 शेयर्स है उसके पास, तो 100 into 400 उसको देना है। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट उसको कुछ भी नहीं देना है कंपनी को। अब जो दूसरा क्वेश्चन अराइज करता है वो ये कि ये 4 रुपए का उसको कब देना होगा। ऑब्वियसली जब कंपनी कॉल करेगी। तो व्हेन कैन द कंपनी मेक अ कॉल ऑन दिस अमाउंट? दिस अमाउंट कैन बी कॉल्ड अप बाय द कंपनी either during the course of business, उस समय कॉल कर सकती है, और ड्यूरिंग द वाइंडिंग अप। तो मतलब क्या कि दिस अमाउंट, इसका मतलब क्या, दिस अमाउंट कैन बी कॉल्ड ड्यूरिंग द बिजनेस ऑल्सो and during the winding up also. Anytime the company decides, it will make a call, and the member, if it holds the shares, if the member holds the shares of the company, the member has to pay the unpaid value of the shares. This is what we mean by limited by shares. What is this limited by guarantee? What happens in limited by guarantee is, what happens in limited by guarantee is, let us say my company has 4 members. My company has 4 members, A, B, C, D, and each of them said that we will pay, A says 50,000, B says 60,000, C says 40,000, and D says I will pay 1 lakh. This is the amount of guarantee they have given, that tomorrow we will pay this amount. When? Now if I look at the definition, limited by guarantee is the amount the member undertakes. Amount member undertakes to contribute to the assets of the company in the course of winding up. So very carefully, this amount is paid only during the course of winding up. So unlike unpaid value of the shares, which can be called up during the business or during winding up, this amount can be called only during the winding up of the company. So I am liable to contribute these sums only when the company goes into liquidation. So when the company is actually doing business, I am not liable to pay this money. Now, what is the point here is, contribute to the assets of the company. What does it mean? Acha, tell me, can I say cash in hand is the asset of the company? Yes. Now when A will give 50,000, B will give 40, C will give 60,000 and D will give 1 lakh rupees. Can we say they are giving cash to the company, which increases the cash in hand for the company? So when it increases the cash in hand of the company, that means I'm giving assets, contributing to the assets of the company. And that is the reason we say contribute to the assets of the company. But one thing is there, that this amount can be called up only during winding up and not during the business. So unlike delimited by shares, which can be called up during business or during winding up, this can be called up only during the winding up of the company. समझ आया सबको? Is it clear? So unpaid value of the shares जो था वो तो कंपनी बिजनेस कर रही है तब भी कॉल करेगी, वाइंड अप हो रही है तब भी कॉल करेगी, बट गारंटी अमाउंट सिर्फ कब कॉल करेगी? जब वो वाइंड अप हो रही है. नाउ ये जो गारंटी कंपनी है, लिमिटेड बाय गारंटी, ये जो कंपनी है, ये गारंटी कंपनी विद शेयर कैपिटल भी हो सकती है, विदाउट शेयर कैपिटल भी हो सकती है. Guarantee company, it can be with share capital and it can also be without share capital. Wow! I mean, ऐसी कंपनी होती है जो विदाउट शेयर कैपिटल काम करती है? बिल्कुल होती है. ऐसी कंपनी बिल्कुल होती है जो विदाउट शेयर कैपिटल काम करती है. तो फिर अगर वो विदाउट शेयर कैपिटल काम कर रही है तो उसको कहाँ से मिलेगा फंड्स? अरे बाबा, उसको फंड्स डोनेशंस, एंडोमेंट्स, फीस वगैरह से मिलेगा. दिस इज हाउ दे गेट देयर मनी. So when the company is a guarantee company with share capital, can we say member की liability is double? क्या हम बोल सकते हैं member की liability double है? कैसे? member को unpaid value of shares तो पे करना है, उसके साथ साथ members को क्या पे करना पड़ेगा? guarantee amount भी पे करना पड़ेगा. So the liability of members is double. I have to pay the unpaid value of my shares. I also have to pay the guaranteed amount. So यहाँ पे मेरा liability क्या हो गया? It is double. I have to pay unpaid value plus the guaranteed amount. And can I say this liability arises twice? How twice? When it is unpaid value. When it is unpaid value of the shares, it can be called up during the business or during winding up. But when it is guaranteed amount, it can be called up only during the winding up. So double liability. I am liable for unpaid value plus guaranteed amount. Unpaid value of the shares can be called up during the business or winding up. Guaranteed amount can be called up only during the winding up. Now, if it is without share capital, can we say there is only single liability? Why single liability? The liability is only for the what? Guaranteed amount. The liability is only for the guaranteed amount. And again single liability. Why? Because this amount can be called up only during the course of winding up. So I repeat again, when we say limited liability companies, it may be limited by shares or limited by guarantee. If it is limited by shares, the liability of the member is limited up to the unpaid value of the shares held by them, and this liability arises during the course of winding up or during the business. Whereas when it is limited by guarantee, the amount the members have undertaken to contribute, that is they are liable to contribute and only during the winding up. So on this basis, can we say there is a difference between limited by shares and limited by guarantee? Yes? Yes. Why we can say there is a difference between limited by shares and limited by guarantee? Because in case of limited by shares, liability is during the business and winding up, whereas in guarantee only during winding up. But is there any similarity? Yes or no? Socho? Yes, 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 because both are companies. So the features of legal personality and limited liability is there in both of them. I hope it's clear to all of you. Coming to the next one, unlimited liability. When we say unlimited liability, what is unlimited liability? The name is only telling us there is no limit. There is no limit to the liability of the members. To the liability of the members. Means what? The members are personally liable. They have unlimited liability. No limit means they are liable. They have no limit as to how much they are liable. They are liable for everything that the company does. So ma'am, then what is the difference between partnership and this? This is partnership. No, there is a difference between this and partnership. What is the difference? Let's take a situation. Let's say this is the partnership firm. They are partners. This is firm and these are the creditors. Now, can the creditors go and sue the partners for what the firm has done? Yes, absolutely. Partners have unlimited liability. Let us say this is the company, this is the members and these are the creditors. And the members have unlimited liability. So, can the creditors go and sue the members? Unlimited liability. Think and tell me, can the creditors go and sue the members? No. When we say unlimited liability, the liability of the member is unlimited but not to the creditors. The liability is unlimited to the company. That means what? The creditors cannot go and sue the members directly. Their right is only to go and sue the company. Yeah, the company in turn can go and sue the members and the members are liable. So, the liability of the member is unlimited to the company, not to the creditors. I guess this is clear to all of you. Now we'll go to the next set. One very important thing, because you know we will keep coming across these words so many times when you study the entire Companies Act. So very important you can understand. So what is this next type of classification? It is based on the number of members that we have, and on that grounds we can say that the classification is private, public and OPC. Here only I'll tell you something about a private may also be a small company. So this is on the basis of size actually. When we say small company, it is actually on the basis of size, but still it is a type of a private company only. So I'll just explain it when we are done with this. I'll just explain small company also here. However, this classification is on the basis of size. Now, what is a private company? I have the definitions, but I'm not going to show you the definitions right now. Let's discuss, because then what happens, our attention gets diverted to the definitions actually. So what is a private company? When I say private company, what does it mean? As defined under the Act, Section 2, Clause 68 defines a private company. What it means is, a private company is one which has a minimum paid up capital. Okay, you all must have heard about this concept of minimum paid up capital. For a private company is 1 lakh and for a public company is 5 lakh. Those who are not updated with the Companies Act must have heard about it. However, under the Amendment Act of 2015, these clauses were removed. That minimum capital requirement was removed. And they said that having a minimum paid up capital as may be specified or as may be prescribed. However, nothing has been prescribed as of today. So as of today, there is no such minimum capital requirement. So we don't have as such any such minimum capital requirement, but which has a minimum paid up capital as may be specified. As I said, nothing is specified. एक्चुअली पहले था 1 लाख 5 लाख था पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट के लिए, बट उन्होंने फिर कोई स्पेसिफिकेशन नहीं दिया है. उसके बाद उन्होंने बोला जो भी बोलेंगे हम स्पेसिफाई करेंगे वो होगा, बट क्योंकि उन्होंने कोई स्पेसिफिकेशन दिया नहीं है तो आज हमारे पास ऐसा कोई लिमिट नहीं है. अब आगे की चीज बड़ी ध्यान से सुनिएगा. एंड बाय इट्स आर्टिकल्स मतलब क्या? अगर इस चीज को आप नोटिस करो, इसका मतलब है हर प्राइवेट कंपनी की आर्टिकल में ये होना जरूरी है. इफ आई लुक एट दिस डेफिनेशन, दिस इंप्लाइज दैट द आर्टिकल्स ऑफ एवरी पब्लिक कंपनी मस्ट हैव दीज. व्हाट? द फर्स्ट वन, बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट ऑल द वर्ड्स दैट वी यूज. I am sorry, and I have made an error here. I'll go as per the definition given under the Act. Restricts the transferability of shares. Then B, limits the number of members to 200 except in case of OPC. And third, prohibits the issue of securities to the public. Okay, so the article of every private company must have these restrictions. So every private company, not just one or two, every private company must have these restrictions. Now let us understand what each of the restrictions mean. And if you will observe, I have written them like, you know, with what you say in capital, and the two words I have even written it in red. That means they are danger signs. Why do I say this? Please try to understand restrict and prohibit do not mean the same thing. Restrict means I can do subject to certain conditions. Subject to certain conditions I can do. But prohibits means what? Prohibits means I cannot do that at all. Please try to understand when we say restrict and prohibit. Restrict means you just cannot, you can do subject to conditions, but prohibit means you just cannot do that. So please अगर आप interchange करते हो word को तो you completely change the meaning of the definition. Don't do that. How? We will just look into that. So सबसे पहला I told you restricts the transferability of shares. Why is it important to restrict the transferability of shares? See, it's a private company. It's a private affair. Generally, most of the private companies are, like family concerns. The family members itself are running these companies. So when it is a family concern, if suddenly some outsider will come, so that faith, that trust will not be there. When it is public, everyone, every person from the public has a right to get those shares. But when we talk about private company is a business affair which is just restricted to just the few family members. Say family members generally होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे भाई आप अगर किसी बाहर वाले को वो राइट दे दोगे कि तुम हमारी कंपनी में आ जाओ, तो वो हमारा वो ट्रस्ट कहाँ से रहेगा? तो इसीलिए वो बोलते हैं रेस्ट्रिक्ट करते हैं हम ट्रांसफरेबिलिटी ऑफ शेयर्स. तो प्लीज आप ये समझो, अगर मैं बोल दूं प्रोहिबिट्स तो मैं गलत बोल रही हूँ, क्योंकि वो ऐसा नहीं बोलते कि हम ट्रांसफर ही नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि अगर हम ऐसा बोलेंगे तो हम कंपनीज एक्ट के अगेंस्ट जा रहे हैं. क्योंकि कंपनीज एक्ट क्लियरली स्टेट्स दैट आई हैव अ राइट टू ट्रांसफर माय शेयर्स. सेक्शन 44 क्लियरली बोलता है दैट द शेयर्स आर फ्रीली ट्रांसफरेबल. तो मैं I cannot say that I cannot transfer the shares. So if I say prohibits, it's wrong. It says restricts. That means I can transfer my shares, but there are subjected to certain restrictions. For example, what can these restrictions be? For example, the company can say no, that if you are selling off your shares, first offer to the existing shareholders. If they take up, fine. If they don't, then go and offer it to the outsiders. So like this, I'm not saying you cannot transfer the shares, but I'm putting a condition to this transfer. Similarly, अगर हमारी कंपनी के कोई एम्प्लॉइज हैं, उनको शेयर्स मिला है, तो कैन वी से देखो भाई तुम अब ऑफिस छोड़ के निकल रहे हो ना, तो तुम भाई अपने शेयर्स हमको हैंड ओवर करके जाओ. सो लेट्स से वी हैव गिवन शेयर्स टू द एम्प्लॉइज. Can we say to these employees, see, you are leaving my company now, you please hand over my shares back to me and then you leave? Can we do that? Yes. And by this we are restricting the transferability of shares. The next point is limits the number of members to 200 except in the case of OPC. Why we are talking about OPC? Because OPC is nothing but a private company. OPC is nothing but a private company. In OPC, we don't have minimum maximum. We have only one member. The act doesn't say with one member or minimum one. No, only one member. So that means when we say only one member, that means it's very obvious that an OPC cannot have more than one member. So how can it have 200 members? So that is why except in case of OPC. Otherwise, in other private companies, we can have maximum 200 number of members. Why such restriction? Because if we have too many number of members, then where is the concept of a private company? If I give you infinite number of members, then what is the concept of private company here then? Private company means something which is private, so less number of members. However, there are certain rules while calculating this 200. Act ने बहुत clearly कुछ rules दिया है how to calculate this 200. मतलब who will be counted and who will not be counted. While calculating this 200, employees are excluded. Now, why are employees excluded? Please understand, it's a very, very genuine thing that the government has, the lawmakers have written here. Very genuinely and very importantly, they have written here. Why we exclude employees? Now, tell me one thing. First of all, the investment capacity of management and employee, can it be same? No. I mean, management maybe is willing to invest even 10 times. An employee would be willing to invest maybe 2 or 3 times. Now let us say 200 members, I have 50 employees, I give shares to 50 employees, and if they are counted, automatically my number goes down to 150, means 50 shareholders slash then and there, means 50 options of getting capital is restricted there. Now after 150, I hired 50 more new employees, or let's say 30 more new employees. I hired 30 more new employees, so I gave them shares, gone, slashed again. Now the sources to raise capital is restricted to 120 because this 80 will only have a limited investment. So if such a situation arises, what will the company do? Company will say forget it, नहीं देना है shares employees को. क्यों नहीं देना है shares employees को? क्योंकि उनको अगर देंगे तो उनको count करेंगे तो our number of members will or our capacity to raise capital will go down. So better you exclude them. So government wants कि we give shares to the employees. अरे भाई उनको भी feel good factor आना चाहिए that I am the owner. So government came to a situation where it made both the employees as well as the employer happy. So बोला कि don't count the employees. No problem, don't count the employees. Now let us say I was working in a company some 10 years back. Now 10 years back I was working, not today. Now this company offers shares. So when this company offers shares, I take up the shares. I take these shares and now company says, oh, Nitika ma'am will not be counted. Why? Because she was our employee. Today she has taken shares but 10 years she was our employee. 10 years back she was our employee. तो भाई ऐसे तो don't include anyone only, सबको हटा दो, किसी को रखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. So what they say is we will not count employees, we will not count ex-employees, but who acquired shares while in employment. So please try to understand, अगर आप सिर्फ ex-employees लिखोगे तो वो सही नहीं है. So when we say employees and ex-employees who acquired the shares while they were employees, मतलब क्या? You were my employee, you acquired my shares, now you have quit my job but you still hold my shares. Only then you are excluded. आप जब मेरे employee थे तब आपने मेरे shares को लिया and अभी आपने मेरा job छोड़ दिया but अभी भी आपके पास मेरे shares है तो हम आपको count नहीं करेंगे. I guess it is clear to everyone. Third, let us say Mr. and Mrs. Jain hold shares of this company as joint holders. You know, na, joint holders, more than one person is holding that same property. Correct? Now, will they be counted as 2 or 1? Will they be counted as 2 or 1? They will be counted as 1. Joint holders will be counted as single members for the purpose of reckoning the limit of 200. I guess it's clear to everyone. So restricts the transferability of shares, limits the number of members to 200 except in the case of OPC. And when we count 200, employees and ex-employees who acquire the shares while in employment are excluded. And joint holders are counted as single members. Prohibits the issue. Arey Baba, you are telling me raise capital by issuing shares and now you are telling me you prohibit. Prohibit. Please understand, they are not prohibiting you from raising capital. They are prohibiting you from raising capital from the public. I am not stopping you from raising capital. Go and raise it from your private sources. You cannot go to the public to raise your capital. That is it. Now, I have not written issue of shares. I have written issue of securities. Securities is a wide term. Securities is so wide that it can include shares as well as debentures. So, I repeat again, prohibits the issue of securities to the public. So, if it is a private company, it must have these 3 restrictions in its articles. In its articles. So please now you understand, if you say restricts the issue of securities to the public, that means you are saying it can issue but subject to certain conditions. So please do not make the mistake. Be careful. This is restricts and this is prohibits. I guess I have made myself very clear. Now we'll go to the next one. What is the next type of company? Public company. So what do we mean by public company? So when we say public company, the definition is a little of a negative kind of a definition. So when we say negative kind of a definition, what do we mean by that? A public company is one which is not a private company. So the lawmakers who are making this company law has given us quite a few weird definitions to go by. So, I mean, I really, when you say, I am trying to understand what is public company, you're just saying which is not a private company. So, if I put it in simple terms, which is not a private company, that means what? It clearly means one thing. And what it means is that it should not have those restrictions in its articles. A private company should have those restrictions. If it has restrictions, it's a private company. But when it's a public company, there is no restrictions to it. It can have infinite number of members. It can, the shares are freely transferable, and it can issue shares to the securities rather to the public. So when there are no such restrictions, it's automatically a public company. The second point says which has a minimum paid up capital. I am not going to go into this because I have just explained that to you. As of today, there is no such restriction. They just say minimum capital as may be specified. And the last one, company which is a subsidiary of a company which is not a private company. Company which is a subsidiary of a company which is not a private company. What do I mean by this? Let us just take an example. Let's take some color, different color to understand the example. Let us say there is this X Limited. Is it visible? Yes, it's visible. There is this X Limited, okay? And there is this Y Private Limited. One thing that is clear is it's a private company, whereas this is a public company. You must be aware that a private company has to use the words private limited after its name, whereas a public company has to use the words limited after its name. So, let us say X Limited is the holding of Y Private Limited. Now, you know, this holding and subsidiary terms, they are relative terms. When we say relative terms, what it means is if I am your holding, you are automatically my subsidiary. See, simple logic. If I am your teacher, automatically you are my student. Is this third person my student? No, no, you are my student. I am your teacher, you are my student. So when it comes to holding subsidiary, if I am your holding, you are automatically my subsidiary. So that means if I say X Limited is the holding of Y Private Limited, can I say Y Private Limited is the subsidiary of X Limited? Correct. Company which is a subsidiary of a company which is not a private company, if I put it in simple terms, it means subsidiary of a public company. Subsidiary of a public company. Now, what do I mean by this? So, when we say X Limited is the holding of a private company, that means private company is a subsidiary of a public company. So, in the eyes of law, this company shall be regarded as a public company. Oh, that means, ma'am, it can now issue shares to more than 200 people, issue shares to the public. No, hold on, no. Subsidiary of a public company, even if it is a private company in its articles. In the articles, this company is still a private company. We will not remove the provisions. It cannot still issue shares to the public. It cannot have more than 200 members. No, not at all. Then the thing is that now this company will, the provisions of Companies Act will apply on this company as if it is a public company. In the articles, it is still a private company. It is still a private company. The name will have the word private. It cannot issue shares to the public. Number of members भी आज भी 200 ही रहेंगे, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं रहेंगे. सब restriction है. तो क्या है कि Companies Act उस पे ऐसे apply करेगा as if कि ये एक public company है. तो this is what we mean by subsidiary. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि उसका status of private company is over. No. The status is in the articles is still that of a private company, but the act will apply on it as if it is a public company. I guess it's clear to everyone. So what is a public company which is not a private company, has a minimum paid up capital as may be specified, and subsidiary of a public company is a public company. Now the next one that we have in this discussion is OPC. What do we mean by OPC? What is OPC? What do we mean by OPC? Now the section defines this as which has only one member. I told you earlier also when I was explaining you this private company, please try to understand, it doesn't say minimum one member, it says only one member. It cannot even have two members. No, it cannot. Now, why did we introduce this concept of OPC? The reason was that, in fact, it was, introduced way back in 2006. And the whole purpose of this OPC was that they wanted to give the businessman a right to open a business only with a single person having the corporate structure. The reason is, one, we want more companies, because when it is company, the government can have interventions. How can the government intervene? The government exactly will not say, come wait, I'll check what you're doing. No, that it can do, but if you're doing something wrong. But with the numerous number of filings and everything, auditing, you have to get it audited because it's a company. All these things, government intervention, or rather a check is there on the company. Whereas that cannot be done in sole proprietorship. And especially when we are dealing with clients who are outside India, they trust company more than a sole proprietorship. The reason being that because government is there, the breach of contracts would be lesser. Whereas in sole proprietorship, there's a high chance that maybe there's a breach of contract. So with that intention, they introduced this concept where a person can enjoy the benefit of opening a business alone and getting the corporate structure. So how does it differ from sole proprietorship? In sole proprietorship, the proprietor is liable for the business. In sole proprietorship, the proprietor is liable for the business. But in case of an OPC, the member is not liable for what the company does. So that is the corporate, that is the separate legal entity, which is the most important feature of a company. That gives it a separate legal status, and the member is not liable for what the company does. Now, when we look at this definition, it's given under the Act. However, this section only tells us what is an OPC, which is only one member which has only one member. But it really doesn't tell us anything apart from this about the company, about the OPC. Companies incorporation rules. Companies Incorporation Rules 2014 tells us the details about an OPC. Now, if you will notice, I have very specifically written the rule name in a very specific manner. This is how you should write the rules, the name of the rules. Companies and rules will always be outside. Most of the rules were in 2014, whereas there are certain rules of 2016 also, 2018 also. Not all rules are in 2016 only, 2014 only, sorry. But depending on what rule you are doing, whenever you come to those rules, it will be 2016, you will come to know about that. But if you will notice one thing, the name of the rule is given in the bracket. Companies and rules is outside the name. The name of the rule is always written within the bracket. Another thing that you will observe is I have written all the first letters in capital. Except prepositions and conjunctions. जो ज्वाइनिंग वर्ड्स होते हैं या prepositions होते हैं, उनके अलावा सारे फर्स्ट लेटर कैपिटल में होने चाहिए. तो इसीलिए आप देखो, मैंने कंपनीज को कैपिटल में लिखा है, इनकॉर्पोरेशन के आई को कैपिटल में लिखा है, रूल्स के आर को कैपिटल में लिखा है. इस तरह से लिखा जाता है हमेशा. अब जब सपोज करो आपका रूल का नाम है प्रोस्पेक्टस एंड अलॉटमेंट ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज, तो कंपनीज आप लिखोगे ब्रैकेट में लिखोगे प्रोस्पेक्टस एंड अलॉटमेंट ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज, जिसमें प्रोस्पेक्टस का पी कैपिटल होगा एंड प्रोस्पेक्टस एंड तो ऑब्वियसली होगा नहीं कैपिटल, ए कैपिटल होगा, ऑफ ऑब्वियसली कैपिटल होगा नहीं, एंड सिक्योरिटीज का एस कैपिटल होगा. उसके बाद आप ब्रैकेट को क्लोज करोगे, फिर आप लिखोगे रूल्स 2014. इस तरह से लिखा जाता है रूल का नाम. ना हमारा ये कंपनीज इनकॉर्पोरेशन रूल्स हमें बताता है कि ओपीसी के लिए क्या क्या होना जरूरी है. अच्छा, मैं इसको आपको बताऊं उससे पहले मुझे एक क्वेश्चन पूछना आपसे. आप मुझे ये बताओ, आप सोचना, एक कंपनी बनती है जेड प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, एंड इसको किसने बनाया? इसको बनाया एक्स लिमिटेड एंड वाई लिमिटेड ने. क्या दो कंपनी मिलके एक कंपनी बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते? क्या दो कंपनी मिलके एक कंपनी बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते? बिल्कुल बना सकते हैं, बिकॉज कंपनी में मिनिमम 2 पर्सन्स है, मिनिमम 7 पर्सन्स है, इंडिविजुअल्स नहीं है. तो हम जब पर्सन की बात करते हैं, इंडिविजुअल्स तो पर्सन्स होते ही हैं, बट उसके अलावा कोई आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन हो तो उसको भी क्या माना जाता है? उसको भी पर्सन माना जाता है. तो जब हम बात करते हैं कंपनी की, दो कंपनी मिलके भी एक कंपनी को बना सकते हैं। अब लेट अस से एक्स लिमिटेड एक ओपीसी बनाना चाहते हैं, क्या वो बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते? एक्स लिमिटेड एक ओपीसी बनाना चाहते, क्या वो बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते? बिल्कुल नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं हम बना सकते हैं। एक पर्सन, ही इज फ्रॉम लंदन, वो लंदन से इंडिया आके इंडिया में ओपीसी बनाना चाहते हैं, क्या वो बना सकते हैं या नहीं बना सकते? नहीं बना सकते। हु कैन फॉर्म एन ओपीसी? ओनली अ नेचुरल पर्सन, ओनली अ natural person who is an Indian citizen, a natural person who is an Indian citizen and a resident of India, and a resident of India, वही सिर्फ एक ओपीसी का मेंबर या ओपीसी का नॉमिनी हो सकता है। नॉमिनी क्या है मैं आपको अभी बताती हूँ। तो ओनली अ नेचुरल पर्सन हु इज एन इंडियन सिटीजन एंड अ रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया, ये तीनों कंडीशन फुलफिल होगा तभी आप एक कंपनी के मेंबर या नॉमिनी, कौन सी कंपनी के? ओपीसी के मेंबर या नॉमिनी हो सकते हो। अभी क्या है, नेचुरल सिटीजन तो नेचुरल पर्सन समझ में आ गया, हम लोग हैं। इंडियन सिटीजन भी समझ में आ गया, नेचुरल पर्सन हम लोग हैं। कंपनी आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन है, हम नेचुरल पर्सन है, तो मैं आप हम बना सकते हैं। इंडियन सिटीजन भी समझ में आ गया। रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया क्या है? रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया का मतलब होता है इफ यू हैव स्टेड इन इंडिया फॉर 182 डेज और मोर। अब ये 182 डेज और मोर कब? ध्यान से सुनिएगा। in the immediately preceding financial year। अगर आप इंडिया में आप इस ईयर में बनाना चाहते हो ओपीसी, तो इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर या कैलेंडर ईयर नहीं है यहाँ पे। अगर इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में अगर आप इंडिया में 182 डेज या मोर के लिए थे, तो फिर आपको क्या माना जाएगा? रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया माना जाएगा। अब इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? लेट अस से फॉर एग्जांपल, ये कौन सा ईयर है हमारा? 2018 एंड 19। तो हमें 2018-19 में फॉर्म करना है ओपीसी, तो मेरा रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस कब का लिया जाएगा? 2017-18 का रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस होना चाहिए 182 डेज और मोर। अगर है तो आई हैव अ राइट टू फॉर्म एन ओपीसी। लेट अस से मेरा इसमें नहीं था, मेरा 2016-17 में था, तो क्या मैं बना सकती हूँ? जी नहीं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे लिखा है इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर। प्लीज समझो, मतलब जिस साल में बनाना है, जिस फाइनेंशियल ईयर में बनाना है, उसके इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग में होना चाहिए। उसके पहले होने से आपको रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ ओपीसी नहीं माना जाएगा इन द इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर। तो कौन बना सकता है ओपीसी? एक नेचुरल पर्सन जो इंडियन सिटीजन है एंड रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया है, वही ओपीसी बना सकता है। नो वन अदर देन दैट पर्सन कैन मेक एन ओपीसी। उसके बाद में अब ये नॉमिनी वाला कॉन्सेप्ट क्या था भाई? ये क्या नॉमिनी का लिखा था हमने? अब देखो क्या होता है ना, जब एक कंपनी में जब एक नॉर्मल दूसरी कंपनी होती है, तो दूसरी कंपनी में तो देखो हमारे पास कितने मेंबर्स रहते हैं? मिनिमम 2 रहेंगे, मिनिमम 5 रहेंगे। वी इन केस ऑफ एनी कंपनी वी हैव मिनिमम 2 or minimum 5 members. So even if something happens to one member, no issues. We already have so many members there. They will check up. They'll keep a check on what's going on in the company. But the problem that arises is that if I only have one member and something happens to that member, so by the time we get someone to look after the business, don't you think too much of time will lapse? So the member has to name a nominee. The member okay, this is actually acting weird now. Wow. So this member, what he has to do is he has to name a nominee. And what is the whole purpose of this nominee? What is the purpose of this nominee? If something happens to this member, बोले तो this member dies or this member is incapacitated, पागल हो गया, lunatic. So in that case, this nominee shall become the member. See, what happens is जब ज़्यादा members है, no problem. But only when one is there and something happens to that. Let us say he has 4 sons. Those 4 sons are fighting. No, business is mine. Dad left it to me. because that named no one. So then what will happen is that this company will only go into swaha. So that is the reason it's better we name a nominee, that tomorrow if something happens to the member, we know who is supposed to take the reins of the business. So the member has to name a person as his nominee. Now what I did was I opened one OPC, OPC 1, OPC 2, OPC 3, OPC 4, OPC 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 OPCs I opened. Can I do that? No. A person. Now when I say a person, please try to understand I'm only talking about a natural person. A person can be a member and a person can be a nominee of only one OPC. Please try to understand, I've given an and here. That means one time I am a member here and I am a nominee here. Can I do that? Yes. I can at the same time be a member of one and nominee of another, but only one. I can be one nominee and one member. That's it. So a person can be a member and a nominee of only one OPC. I hope it's clear to everyone. So I need to have a nominee and only one person can be a member and a nominee of only one OPC at the same time, at one time. And who can be a member or nominee? A natural person who is an Indian citizen and a resident of India. Now, let us say this is Mr. A. He opened an OPC. And this is Mr. S. Who is Mr. S? Son of Mr. A. He opened another OPC. Can he do that? Yes, yes, yes. Why not? You cannot open two OPC, but two persons can open two separate OPCs. Yes. Now, what Mr. A does is for his OPC, he names Mr. S as his nominee. He names Mr. S as his nominee. Can he do so? Yes. Yes. Now, Mr. A is dead. So, when Mr. A is dead, what will happen? The nominee becomes the member. So, if the nominee becomes the member, now please understand he is a member of one OPC and now he is a member of second OPC. Can you do that? Law says no. No, no, ma'am, this case exceptional. No. If a person becomes member of more than one OPC, Acha, tell me, why will he become member of more than one OPC? He'll open another OPC. That he cannot do. The second membership can be only by one reason, and that is by virtue of nomination. You cannot become a member of a second OPC because you have opened a second OPC. That you cannot do. So this second membership is only by reason of nomination, no other reason. So more than one OPC by virtue of nomination. Can he continue with both OPCs? No. No. So what he has to do is, now listen carefully. What he has to do is within 180 days, he has to select any one OPC. We can never allow him to continue as for two OPCs within 180 days. He has to select any one OPC. So if by any reason a person becomes a member of a second OPC, and that can only happen because of nomination. Can he become a member of a third OPC? No, because he can only be nominated for one OPC, no two OPCs, and he cannot be a member of two OPCs also. So if by reason he becomes a member of a second OPC, within 180 days he has to select any one OPC. And then he can continue with that OPC. I hope it's clear to everyone. Now the question that arises is, can a minor be a member or a nominee of an OPC? Absolutely not. अरे भाई बच्चा है, जीने दो ना जिंदगी, बाद में तो काम ही करना है, अभी तो जाओ जी लो अपनी जिंदगी टाइप सिचुएशन रहने दो. इतने नन्हे मुन्ने बच्चे हैं, उनके कंधों पे इतना बोझ. Why are you trying to burden the kids? He doesn't know how to manage. मैम नॉमिनी तो चलता है. नो भाई, नॉमिनी नहीं चलता है. If tomorrow the member is dead during his minority, then what will we do? He doesn't know how to manage. We cannot let him. Ma'am, I have a son who is a minor. I want to appoint him. Please don't appoint him now. Let him be a major. Appoint someone else as a nominee. Once he becomes a major, can I change nomination? Yes, then you can make him the nominee, but not till he is a minor. A minor cannot become a member or a nominee of an OPC. I guess it's clear to everyone. Now the next thing is, there are a few restrictions on what an OPC can or cannot do. So what are these restrictions? Let's try to understand these restrictions. The first one is that an OPC cannot register or convert into a Section 8 company. What is a Section 8 company? Non-profit organization. The only motive of OPC is profit. The only motive we start an OPC is with profit motive. It's a single, it's just nothing but a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is never without an intention of profit. And it's not just register, convert. What is convert? Can one company be converted into another form? Like, can a private company become a public company? Yes. But if it is an OPC, it can convert into private, it can convert into public, but it can never even convert. Registration nahi. Not even convert also into a Section 8 company. Because the motive of OPC is never non-profit. So it cannot register or convert into a Section 8 company. Then it cannot carry any non-banking financial activity. Means what? It is not registered as a banking company, but it is doing what? Financial services. It's carrying on the financial activities. That is known as non-banking financial activity. That is, I am not registered as a bank, but I am still carrying on the financial activities. It cannot do so. Then it cannot invest in the securities, cannot invest in securities of any body corporate. It cannot invest in securities of any body corporate. It cannot be registered or it cannot invest, that means it cannot purchase shares of any body corporate. So it cannot be registered or convert into a Section 8 company. It cannot carry non-banking financial activities. And the last one, it cannot invest in the securities of any body corporate. I guess it's clear to everyone. The last point that we want to discuss here is conversion. Can an OPC convert into a private or a public company? Yes or no? Can an OPC be converted into private or public company? Absolutely, we can convert them. So when we talk about conversions, there are two cases here. One conversion is by choice, the other is by default. Can an OPC be converted into another type of form of company by choice? By choice means what? The member decides that I want to convert into a private or a public company. Can it convert into a Section 8 company? Yes. No. I told you it cannot convert into a Section 8 company. Can it convert into a private or a public company? Yes. But not up to 2 years from the date of incorporation. So the day the OPC is incorporated, 2 years, till 2 years, by choice you cannot convert into any other form of company. After 2 years, yes you can, but till 2 years you cannot convert. However, law says if at any given time the paid up capital of an OPC exceeds 50 lakh, or the average annual turnover for the relevant period exceeds 2 crore, it must convert into a private or a public company. So please try to understand, if by choice the OPC wants to convert, no, we have a restriction for 2 years, up to 2 years of incorporation, you cannot do anything, just sit there as an OPC. But at any given point of time, let us say just 11 months since the OPC was incorporated and the paid up capital is 55 lakhs. Ma'am, 2 years you said no, here you have to. Ma'am, I don't want to convert, I'm happy being an OPC, but you don't have a choice, you cannot decide. लॉ बोलता है अगर आपने ये लिमिट को क्रॉस किया, एक्सीड किया, आपको कन्वर्ट करना ही पड़ेगा. सो इफ बाय चॉइस इट वांट्स टू कन्वर्ट, 2 years तक नहीं कर सकता है. बट बाय डिफॉल्ट कभी भी उसका पेड अप कैपिटल कितना हो गया 50 लाख से ज्यादा, या उसका एवरेज एनुअल टर्नओवर फॉर द रेलेवेंट पीरियड 2 करोड़ से ज्यादा हो गया, तो उसको कन्वर्ट करना ही पड़ेगा. आई गेस ओपीसी आप सबको क्लियर है, एंड आई गेस वी कैन मूव टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. दो हमारे चार्ट में ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ साइज यहाँ पे नहीं था, बट स्टिल बिकॉज small company is nothing but a type of private company, so we will just discuss a small company here. So what is a small company? क्या होता है small company? अच्छा मैम, आपका ऑफिस का साइज इतना सा है, so you are a small company. क्योंकि आपका ऑफिस का साइज इतना सा है मैम, you are a small company. जी नहीं, मेरे ऑफिस का साइज doesn't define I'm a small company or not. Small company क्या होता है? Small company is a private company. So that means what? I'm going to give you limits for small company. And please ये समझिएगा कि अगर एक पब्लिक कंपनी ये लिमिट्स फुलफिल करती है तो भी उसको कभी भी स्मॉल कंपनी का स्टेटस नहीं मिलेगा. क्यों ये डेफिनेशन आया स्मॉल कंपनी का? इफ द कंपनी इज अ स्मॉल कंपनी इट इंजॉयज सर्टेन प्रिविलेजेस. अगर हमारी कंपनी स्मॉल कंपनी है उसको कुछ प्रिविलेजेस मिलते हैं. क्या प्रिविलेजेस मिलते हैं हमें? जैसे आपको कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट के बारे में यू मस्ट बी अवेयर, अ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट का पार्ट है कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट एंड यू हैव टू मेक इट करेक्ट. तो एक कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट तो बनाना ही पड़ेगा हमें. लेकिन अगर एक कंपनी स्मॉल कंपनी है उसको कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. साल में एक कंपनी इन अ ईयर हैज टू होल्ड 4 बोर्ड मीटिंग्स. एक साल में उसको 4 बोर्ड मीटिंग होल्ड करना है. स्मॉल कंपनी 2 भी करेगा तो चलेगा. देन a company, the annual returns of a company has to be signed by the secretary as well as the director, but if it is a small company any one of them can sign and that's sufficient. So these are the privileges that a small company enjoys, and that's the reason they have come up with this definition of a small company. Now small company क्या होता है? section 2 clause 85 इसको define करता है. It is a private company, so that means public company is never a small company whose paid up capital does not exceed 50 lakh or such higher amount as may be prescribed, not exceeding 10 lakh. Okay, तो इसका मतलब क्या है? What does this mean? बिफोर आई गो इन टू दैट पेड अप कैपिटल 50 लाख, पहले ये चीज समझो आप यहाँ जो लिखा और सच हायर अमाउंट, मतलब आज हमने एक फिगर दिया है 50 लाख का. आज का फिगर 50 लाख है. आज अगर हम कोई भी चीज पे डील करते हैं तो आज का फिगर 50 लाख ही है. बट अगर कल को गवर्नमेंट चाहे तो इस फिगर को इंक्रीज कर सकती है फ्रॉम 50 लाख गिविंग अ हायर स्लैब. तो वी आर गिविंग द गवर्नमेंट एन अथॉरिटी that see tomorrow if you feel that 50 lakh isn't the correct amount, you please go and increase it. We have given 50 lakh. You want to increase, you can increase, but your power to increase cannot go beyond 10 lakh. That is the maximum limit that you can increase the paid up capital should not exceed 10 lakh. 10 lakh is your maximum power. We have given 50 lakh today. कल तुमको लगे कि you should increase that, you can increase. We are giving you the power, but किसी भी हालत में 10 लाख से ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता है वो. तो अगर किसी भी कंपनी का पेड अप कैपिटल 50 लाख से कम है या 50 लाख है तो उसको क्या मिल जाएगा? इट विल गेट द स्टेटस ऑफ अ व्हाट? स्मॉल कंपनी. लेकिन दूसरा पॉइंट है एंड. अब कुछ चीजें ना, इफ यू आर रेफरिंग टू सम ऑफ योर नोट्स दैट यू हैव, इट मे सो हैपन कि जो आप यहां देख रहे हो और वहां कुछ अलग लिखा हुआ हो सकता है. यहाँ 10 लाख की जगह कुछ और फिगर होगा, एंड की जगह और होगा, बिकॉज ये हम जो पढ़ रहे हैं वो अमेंडमेंट्स के साथ है. अब हमें यही पढ़ना है. तो अगर आप किसी पुराने नोट्स को रेफर कर रहे हो तो हो सकता है कि वहां पे आपको जो देखने को मिले वो कुछ और होगा. प्लीज अगर ऐसा है तो उसमें आप रेक्टिफिकेशंस कर लेना. पहले ये और था, बट और होने के कारण क्योंकि एक ही कोई भी एक में फॉल करने से हो जाता था तो बहुत सारी कंपनी को स्मॉल कंपनी का स्टेटस मिल रहा था. देयर वर एन नंबर ऑफ कंपनी जो हर साल स्मॉल कंपनी हो जाती थी. तो गवर्नमेंट ने डिसाइड किया कि ये और को हटाओ भाई, इधर एंड करो, तो ये एंड हो गया. एंड द टर्नओवर as per
the profit and loss account of the immediately preceding financial year. आपको ये immediately preceding financial year का मतलब अभी थोड़ी देर पहले मैंने स्मॉल कंपनी में बताया था, आपको समझ में आया होगा. खैर हम इसमें भी देखेंगे. Does not exceed 2 crore or such higher amount as may be specified, not exceeding 100 crores. तो प्लीज समझिएगा, एज पर द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस ऑफ द इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग. तो मतलब क्या, अगर हम 2018-19 में कंपनी का स्टेटस देख रहे हैं तो हम कौन सा पीएल को देखेंगे? 2017-18 के पीएल को देखेंगे. समझ में आया? अब यहाँ पे एक चीज और बहुत ध्यान से सुनिएगा, ये जो हम स्मॉल कंपनी की बात करते हैं ना, ये स्टेटस इज नॉट परमानेंट. इट्स नॉट लाइक वंस यू गेट द स्टेटस ऑफ अ स्मॉल कंपनी और ऑलवेज अ स्मॉल कंपनी. नो, the status of a company may be small or not, and it may vary from year to year. That means what? Maybe in the year 2015-16 you got the status of a small company. Maybe in the year 2016-17 you may not get that status. So let us say, for example, 2014-15 the company had a paid up capital of, let us say, 45 lakhs, okay, and it had a turnover of 1.5 crores. So उसका स्टेटस नेक्स्ट ईयर में देखा जाएगा. सो कैन आई से इन द ईयर 2015 and 16 द कंपनी इज अ स्मॉल कंपनी? यस और नो? यस. अब लेट अस से इन द ईयर 2015 and 16 द पेड अप कैपिटल वाज स्टिल 45 lakhs but the turnover was 2.25 crores. So can we say in the year 2016-17, 2015-16 it's a small company, but in the year 2016-17 is it still a small company? No, it is no longer a small company. So the status of small company also changes from year to year. We will always look to the previous year and decide whether it's a small company or not. I hope it is clear to everyone. लेकिन कुछ भी हो जाए, आपके दोनों क्राइटेरिया फुलफिल हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. होल्डिंग सब्सिडियरी को कभी भी इस सेक्शन के अंदर में नहीं आएगा. मतलब क्या, अगर किसी भी होल्डिंग सब्सिडियरी कंपनी में दोनों फिगर फुलफिल हो रहा है फिर भी उसको स्मॉल कंपनी का स्टेटस नहीं मिलेगा. मतलब उसको जो प्रिविलेजेस मिलते हैं स्मॉल कंपनी के, वो नहीं मिलेंगे, किसी भी हालत में नहीं मिलेंगे. सेक्शन 8 कंपनी को किसी भी हालत में, इवन इफ इट फुलफिल्स बोथ द क्राइटेरिया, इट इज नेवर अ स्मॉल कंपनी. एंड द लास्ट वन इज एनी कंपनी गवर्न्ड बाय अ स्पेशल एक्ट. सो these do not come under small company. That means even if they fulfill that criteria, still they will not be regarded as a small company. I hope you are clear with what we mean by small company. The paid up capital should not exceed 50 lakh and the turnover as per the profit and loss account of the immediately preceding financial year should not exceed 2 crores. I guess सबको समझ में आ गया. अब हम नेक्स्ट पे चलते हैं. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कंट्रोल. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कंट्रोल हमने 3 देखे थे. पहला था हमारा होल्डिंग, दूसरा था हमारा सब्सिडियरी एंड तीसरी कंपनी थी हमारी एसोसिएट कंपनी. तो तीनों का क्या मतलब है? सबसे पहले तो अगर आपको याद है मैंने आपको क्या बोला, होल्डिंग एंड सब्सिडियरी टर्म्स जो है ना, तो होल्डिंग एंड सब्सिडियरी टर्म्स रिलेटिव टर्म्स है. तो जब हम बोलते हैं रिलेटिव टर्म्स है, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि अगर मैं आपकी होल्डिंग हूं तो आप ऑटोमेटिकली मेरे सब्सिडियरी हो. मैंने आपको बताया कि रिलेटिव टर्म्स है, करेक्ट. सो इसका मतलब ये होता है, so as I already told you, the terms are relative. So I am your holding only if I am a subsidiary. What is this associate company? We'll discuss it, but it's a very new term which has been introduced by the Companies Act, and you will find a reference of associate being made with the subsidiary when you come to the chapter accounts and audit, where consolidated financial statement along with the subsidiary, even we have to make the consolidated financial statement of the associate companies. So first let us understand what is holding company. Now the definition is a little circular. What do we mean by holding company? A company is said to be the holding of another. Company is said to be holding of another if such other is its subsidiary. As I already explained it to you that
holding subsidiary is a very relative term. So if I'm your subsidiary, you're automatically my holding. So the question arises then, what is subsidiary? So once I asked this question and this student in my class says, okay ma'am, so I am yours, so a company is said to be the subsidiary of another if the other is its holding. We cannot only have circular definitions. So subsidiary actually explains us the whole concept of holding subsidiary relation. But then one thing that you're very clear is something like, holding more than 50% of what we don't know, we'll discuss, but then that makes you a holding subsidiary, correct? So let us say, if I say X Limited and Y Limited, X Limited holds 75%. What? Obviously, which gives you holding subsidiary right. What? That we will discuss when we come to the definition of subsidiary. But please try to understand, X Limited is holding 75% of Y Limited. So on this grounds, can I say X Limited is the holding? Yes or no? Yes. Because if you are holding more than 50%, you get the holding subsidiary relation. But now let us say, if I just rephrase this a little and I say X Limited is incorporated in Paris and Y Limited is incorporated in Delhi. Now X Limited holds 75% of Y Limited. So is it a holding subsidiary or not? Yes, no, 75%. But if you look at the definition, company is said to be the holding of another. What do we mean by company? Company means a company which is registered under the Companies Act 2013 or previous act. Incorporated in Paris, is it incorporated under the Companies Act? No. Then, so as per this definition, is not holding. So under the Companies Amendment Act 2017, they added an explanation to this definition, and they said, for the purpose of this clause, for the purpose, I did not say for the purpose of this section, because it's not for the entire section 2, for the purpose of this clause, company includes a body corporate. What is a body corporate? A body corporate is a company including a foreign company. So now is it holding subsidiary? Yes. So what do we mean by holding? A company is said to be the holding of another if the other is its subsidiary. So let us try to understand what is subsidiary then. So if we look at the definition of subsidiary, a company is said to be the subsidiary of another if the other company, let me just write down the entire definition, then we will discuss it, controls the composition of the board of directors. Second, holds more than half of the total voting power. You may see shares, blah blah blah. Please, whatever you are referring to, this is what we have to study now. Now, what do we mean by controls the composition of the board of directors? What do we mean by this? When can I control the composition? How can I control the composition of your board of directors? If I have a right, please understand, if I have a right to appoint more than half of your directors, please, I'm not saying if I have a right to appoint a director, I have a right to appoint 1 or 2 directors. No, I'm not controlling the composition of your directors. If I have a right to appoint majority of your directors, that is more than half of your directors, then I am controlling the composition. And if I am controlling the composition, I am the holding, you are the subsidiary. I repeat again, if I have a right to appoint your directors, and as I said, appoint directors का मतलब ये नहीं कि मैं एक दो appoint कर दिया, no, majority. So let us say, let's take an example. There is this X Limited which has 9 directors. How many directors X Limited has? 9 directors. Of this 9 directors, 5 are appointed by Y Limited and 4 are appointed by Z Limited. So tell me, can I say Y Limited is the holding of X Limited? Yes. Can I say Z Limited is the holding? No. Why? Because it's not controlling the composition. So controls the composition means what? You are appointing the majority of the directors.
Now, holds more than half. More than half means if I hold 50.1, that is also correct. So let us say X Limited has 1 lakh equity shares, each containing 1 vote. So when I say each containing 1 vote, that means more than 50% of this 1 lakh shares will give me more than 50% of the votes. But let us say, if I say it has 1 lakh shares, of which 80,000 are equity and 20,000 are preference. So preference has no voting rights. So then I am talking about 50% of what? I am talking about 50% of 80,000. So I have to hold 50% of 80,000. So if I am holding 30,000 of these shares and 10,000 of the preference shares. Okay? Or let us say 20,000 of the preference shares, 22,000 of the preference shares. Do I become the holding? No. I hold, in this case, when I am holding 30,000 equity and 22,000 preference shares, I am so sorry, it's not visible, I am so sorry. So here, when X Limited has 1 lakh shares, of which 80,000 is equity and 20,000 is preference, and out of this 30,000 equity shares and 22,000 preference shares are held by Y Limited. So if I say total holding is what? 52,000, which is more than 50% of 1 lakh. But is it 50% of the holding? No, because 50% of the voting? No, 50% of voting is out of this 80,000. So is it holding? No, it is not holding. So I have to hold not just 50% of the shares, I have to hold 50% of the voting rights. So it's not a holding. I guess it's clear to everyone. One last explanation that this, or just after these 2 points, what is written in subsidiary is subsidiary of a subsidiary. That means what? If my subsidiary is the holding of another company, so I will also become the holding of that company. If my subsidiary is a holding of another company, I will also become the holding of that company. What does this mean? So what does this subsidiary of a subsidiary mean actually? So let us say X Limited holds 75% voting powers of Y Limited. Can we say X Limited is the holding of Y Limited? Yes? Okay. Y Limited holds again 62% of Z Limited. Can we say Y Limited is the holding of Z Limited? Yes. Now subsidiary of a subsidiary, can we say Z Limited is subsidiary of a subsidiary for X Limited? Can I say that X Limited is the holding of Z Limited? Yes or no? Please try to understand. 0% holding, I don't hold anything, but it is the subsidiary of my subsidiary. It is the subsidiary of my subsidiary, so it is also my subsidiary. So if my subsidiary becomes the holding of another company, I also automatically become the holding of that company. Let us take another case. Let us say X Limited, we already saw, holds 75% of Y Limited, correct? So we discussed that X Limited becomes the holding of Y Limited. Now this Y Limited, it is controlling the composition. It controls the BOD of Z Limited. So can we say Y Limited is the holding of Z Limited? Yes. Now is X Limited the holding of Z Limited? Yes. Subsidiary of a subsidiary. Now very carefully, what law says is provided it does not go beyond the specified layers. Does not go beyond the specified layers. What this layers means, I will tell you subsidiaries layers. And what is the specified layer? Earlier it was not specified, now they have specified it as 2. Though it's not just 2, there are many clauses to this. It's not applicable to a few companies also.
You don't have to study that in details as in your CA final. There you have to study the entire thing in detail, but I'll tell you a little about it. So what is this layers? What is this layers? What do we mean by layers? So let us say, when we say layers, let us say A Limited is the holding of B Limited, and B Limited is the holding of, holding of C Limited. Can I say A Limited is the holding of C Limited? Yes. Yes. Now let us say C Limited is the holding of D Limited. Can I say A Limited is the holding of D Limited? Yes. Yes. Earlier it was possible. Now they say it cannot go beyond 2 layers. So what is this beyond 2 layers? The first layer is B Limited, the second layer is C Limited. It cannot go beyond this. So this will not be regarded as the holding of D Limited. So this is what we mean by it cannot go beyond the specified layers. I hope it is clear to everyone. Yes? Okay. However, these layers do not apply to a banking, non-banking financial companies or to a government company. These are not applicable there. But still, it cannot go before. In general, we should know at least that it cannot go beyond 2 layers. I guess it's clear to all of you. The next one in this classification, or the last one in this classification, is associate company. What do we mean by associate company? As I told you, it's a very new theory which has been, adopted. So what do we mean by this? Okay, so what do we mean by associate company? Now, as we said, associate company, I told you that it has come recently, and it is something along with subsidiary we have to do. So it cannot be subsidiary, but when I have a significant influence over your company, but please mind it, when I'm saying significant influence, I'm not talking about an influence which exceeds 50%, because the moment the influence exceeds 50%, it is no longer associate because it becomes subsidiary. So please try to understand the concept of associate is that I have a significant influence, but not being a subsidiary. The moment this influence goes above 50%, it is a subsidiary company. So let us say there are 2 companies, company 1 and company 2. And company 1 has a significant influence over company 2. Now, when we say significant influence over company 2, so which company has influence? Company 1. Or over which? Company 2. So which is associate? Company 1 or company 2? Company 1? No. It is the second company which is regarded as the associate company, not the company 1. So when my company has a significant influence over the other company, we call it as the other company becomes my associate company. Now what do we mean by significant influence? Holding at least 20% of the voting power or business decisions, right? So what do we mean by significant influence? We are holding at least 20% of the voting power. You're holding at least 20% of the voting power, or you're holding at least 20% of the business decisions. Now please try to understand one thing again. Significant influence not being a subsidiary, that is very important. That means what? From 20 to 50 it is associate. The moment it goes beyond 50, it exceeds 50, it becomes a subsidiary. It is no longer an associate company. So a company is said to be the associate of another if the other has a significant influence over it. And what is not being a subsidiary? And what is significant influence? I'm holding at least 20% of the business decisions, or 20% of the voting powers in your company. I hope this is clear to everyone. Yes? Okay, so we are done with this holding subsidiary and associate, and I'm damn sure you're all clear with it. Moving on to the next part of the discussion, which talks about government and a foreign company. So what is a government company? These are very small topics. We are just going to, discuss them in a jiffy. So government company is not less than 51% of the shares are held by central government, state government, both. Please try to understand here. It's not more than 50%, not less than 51%. Is there a difference? Yes. When I said holding,
I said more than half of the voting power. So when I say more than half of the voting power, if it is 50.5% also, can we say it's holding subsidiary? Yes. But when I say not less than 51%, 50.5%, is it government? No, it has to be minimum 51%. So 51% of the shares at least are held by either central government alone or state government alone or together by them. Now what is a foreign company? A foreign company is a company which is incorporated outside India. So why are we talking about them here? Because and having a place of business in India. Having a place of business in India. So when we say incorporated outside India and having a place of business, that means they are not incorporated. All these multinational companies that you see, they are not incorporated in India, but they have business in India. So see, you are earning from India, so you should have certain filing requirements and all. So that is the reason we define them. Now when we say business, having a place of business in India, this place of business in India can be either directly, that is in person, or through an agent, right? And then again it can be either physically or it can be online. That is, they can have a physical store here, or instead of having a store, they can just, you can order goods online and they would, send us here. So here also they are earning revenue from us. So yes, they are accountable to us. So this is what we mean by a foreign company. And now the last part of the discussion, which is about Section 8 company. So what do we mean by a Section 8 company? What is a Section 8 company? I already told you a Section 8 company is a non-profit organization. The motive of this company is not to earn profit. So what is the motive? What is the objective? The objective of this company is to promote science, art, religion, charity, commerce, technology, all of these. I mean, not all of these together, any one of it. Okay? So to promote science, this is just for us to remember, don't write that in the paper. So to promote science, art, religion, commerce, charity, technology, computers, for all of this reason, this company is, any of these reasons, this company is formed. So this company is not earning profit. The motive is not to earn profit. So will it declare dividend? No, because dividend is paid out of the profits. So this company, the second object of this company is they do not declare dividend. This company cannot declare dividend. So what happens to the profits? Ma'am, profits? How will they earn profits, ma'am? They are not doing business. Yes, they are not doing business. Maybe they are not earning it directly, but they do earn it incidentally. How? Let us say this female, she is an awesome singer. I mean, she's an awesome singer, not me. So this female, I mean, when she sings, you should see the entire theater. I mean, it is like, something is happening, and all those, anything when glass is almost to the point of shattering, that kind of like operas you've heard, she sings like that. People are crazy about her shows. Now she wants to work, she says that I want to develop this form of singing in India. So what she does is, she conducts shows and all her shows are houseful, and whatever money is left after paying off the expenses of the show, she invests in this promotion of this form of singing. So this is how they earn incidentally. They don't earn it directly, but they earn it incidentally. So the profits, do they declare dividend? No. So what happens to the profit? Is reinvested. The profit is reinvested in the promotion of the objects. So basically they are for the development of science, art, commerce, religion, charity, technology, whatever. They do not declare dividend, and whatever profits they earn, it is reinvested into the business again. Now this company, this Section 8 company,
You decide, I am a Section 8 company. No, you have to apply to the central government that please give me a license. Now, when we say central government, the central government under Section 458 of the Companies Act, the central government has an authority to delegate their powers, and this power is delegated to ROC. And the section also gives them a right that at any point of time you feel that this power should be taken back, you can take it back. As of now, the power to grant license is given to the ROC. So we have to apply to the ROC that, see, I want to incorporate as a Section 8 company, this is my object, blah blah blah, I have to give. If they are satisfied, they will grant me a license. Now once they grant me this license, I become a Section 8 company. Once they grant me this license, the ROC grants me this license, I become a Section 8 company. And when I say I become a Section 8 company, the words private limited or the word limited need not be used after my name. Chamber of Commerce, you heard about that? It is for the promotion of commerce. It's a Section 8 company. It does not use the word limited or private limited after its name. Then second, the firm, even a firm can be a member. Firm can be a member, ma'am, in any company. No. Let us say ABC and Company is a partnership firm with ABC as partners. ABC and Company wants to purchase shares of Reliance. Can they do so? No. It has no legal existence. So ABC cannot do. But ABC, the partners, can become joint holders of the shares. But if it is a Section 8 company, even a firm can become a member of a Section 8 company. So the second privilege is even a firm can become a member. And you know, for everything that we do, we have to pay stamp duty. But here, they are not earning profit. So let's give them some relief. So they are not liable to pay any stamp duty to the ROC. So basically, they are formed with a motive. And what is the motive? For the promotion of science, art, religion, whatever. And they have to apply to the ROC that we want to incorporate as a Section 8 company because the power is delegated, and if they are granted this, they become Section 8 company. So don't you think they have a liability to fulfill their objects? Yes. If at any given point of time they breach the objects, they do any act which is against the interest of the public, anything they do, what will happen? In such a case, if they go against, let us say for example, this company declares dividend. This company declares dividend. So can we say it's going against the objects? Yes. See, when I have the object of not declaring dividend, I am declaring dividend, I am going against what the act is saying. So in that case, the central government can revoke the license given to it. However, who revokes it? Central government. The power is delegated to regional director. So the regional director will actually revoke, has the power now. I told you Section 458, sorry. Now when this license is revoked, three things can happen. What are the three things? First, it must convert into a private or a public company. So when it breaches the objects or the license is given under some special conditions and the conditions are breached, whatever happens, in that case the license will be revoked. And if the license is revoked, this company has to convert into a private or a public company. So once it converts, it has to make an application to the ROC that, see, now I am a normal private or a public company, and ROC will make the same notes in its registers. When such license is revoked, the second thing that can happen is the company may be ordered to amalgamate. With any company? No. With another Section 8 company. So we will tell you that you go and amalgamate with another Section 8 company with same objects. Now please, one company, this lady, she starts a company, Section 8 company for the promotion, and now we ask her to, you go and merge with a technology. What is the combination? No. So Section 8 company with similar objects. Or if the opinion of the central government is that this company should be wound up, it may pass orders for the winding up. Not all the three together. How can we pass orders for all the three together? It can be any one of it. So if the company breaches its objects or does not fulfill the conditions under which the license for Section 8 company was issued, or does any act which is against the interest of public, whatever, the license will be revoked. On such revocation, three things can happen. Either this company will be converted into a private or a public company, or this company will have to amalgamate with another Section 8 company with similar objects, or the company may be ordered to be wound up. So anything. But amalgamation or winding up is only if it is in the interest of public. Otherwise, you cannot pass such orders. It should only be in the interest of public, and all the three, before you pass any such orders, the party must be given an opportunity of being heard. That is, before you pass an order of revocation of license, you have to give the company a chance to speak up why the company acted as it did so. Whatever the company did, why the company did so, and we have to give the right to the company to speak up before we pass an order for revocation of license or conversion, amalgamation or winding up. I hope all the different types of companies are clear to you, and I hope you don't have any doubts. If you do have, drop a message. I'll definitely reply to that message as soon as possible. And happy learning and stay motivated. Thank you so much.